Good afternoon, this is Jack from the ArtChart.net, and this is the intraday video for the afternoon of Thursday, the 19th of April. Our disclaimer. We did this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it and transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Now, where is the ideal target for this retracement today, in my view? Obviously, the 60-minute sell signal has made target. On NQ, the 120-minute sell signal has made it to, well, close enough that I would count that as a target hit. We are testing rising support on NQ and NDX, and we haven't quite reached rising support on ES, which is where I would ideally like to see the low. You can see it's intersecting with the monthly pivot. We haven't quite made it yet. We've made very close. What I'm thinking is we might see a rally here and then a retest. Which gets us down here. Why was I thinking this was probably going to hold? Well, one, the trend hasn't finished. All right, I'll be talking about NG. So I don't like NG as long, I have to say, but I'll go through that. But I think why was I expecting this to hold? One, we've got trend line support here. Two, we got monthly pivot here. Three, on the RTH charts, we have this 60-minute chart. Yeah, it is. Okay. That is a very important trend indicator. It's the 50-hour moving average. And we got that here. So altogether, that is a lot of support. And we've also got the 200-hour moving average there. So that's a lot of support to get through. We're not expecting this trend to have ended. We're expecting another higher high, so I'm not expecting to see anything really impressive. So we're down in the right sort of area. We may well be doing a retest. Essentially, I like the long side more from here, and I'm expecting ES to really tag at least 27.30. Maybe not much above that, and it's encouraging that we've had this decline here because this is suggesting that our triangle scenario, because this is triangle resistance now currently in about 27.38 area in SPX, that is the main resistance trend line. Stan's thinking we might hit that tomorrow or Monday, in which case that will have pretty much fallen to match Stan's 32 ES target. So we shall see how that goes. Not expecting to see, I mean, we could see a V-Day today. I'm not really thinking we're in a powerful enough trend that would probably be delivered, but it's a possibility. We shall see. Right, so that's ES, NQ, I'm not going to show TF, DX. Now, DX, obviously I've been talking about the possibility that DX was going to surprise everyone and not go straight down, and instead that we just finished wave D. This Stan's take was this was wave D, this was wave E, and this was the breakdown, but we never broke below triangle support. So my alternate theory was, that I was putting to him on chart chat, and is the alternate theory, is that this is wave D, and this is wave E. Now, in practical terms, this doesn't actually make a huge amount of difference because wave E can end any time. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go any higher than the rally went last time. But it means that we could. We haven't yet made it over this high here. After that, we're almost certainly in the E. And if we make it over monthly pivot, which we're testing now, and convert that to support, this opens a possible test, which wave E does not need to do, but there is a possible setup for, and there is some support for. It opens up a possible test of triangle resistance, and I've got that in the 90.2 area. Now, I was thinking that would have quite serious implications on GC and HG. Looking at the way they've been trading the last couple of days, I'm not as convinced that's the case as I was beforehand. The correlation has been quite weak. Really, the action on GC and HG is almost as though DX had already started another leg down, which obviously it hasn't. So, but we'll see. There will be a spill-on effect. If we go up to 90.2, I would expect a fairly marked spillover effect. It might not be as marked as I was initially expecting it would be. CL, we've broken the short-term rising support. We've got a sell signal, hasn't made the target yet. We've dropped a buck and a bit. Only looking for a retracement here. Ideally, that would make it down to this trend line here, which is trend line support, currently in the 67 area. In my dream, we would make it to that level on positive divergence. That would be a really nice long entry for the next leg up into the 70s. I'm rather hoping that's the way it plays out. Obviously, it might not. We shall see. But I don't think Stan's expecting us to go under there, and I don't think really I'm expecting us to go under there either. Anything If we do, then that opens up a limited degree of further downside, I think. But again, we are likely to see a high. Now, NG. NG, I was talking about this yesterday and this morning, and what I was saying was this was likely just to be just a retracement as long as we didn't see a break in conversion to resistance of a weekly pivot. We have seen a break in, well, what looks like a conversion of the weekly pivot to resistance. This means that the double top, which was just a potential double top, has now actually broken down. That double top's got a target in the 2.63 area, and there is a case that with the obvious target would be a retest of this low here in the 2.61 area. I like the downside here. I'm seeing a little positive divergence, but really I'm not seeing any strong reason to think that double top isn't going to make target. What I would add to that is that if we have seen an early high on NG, then we may not be coming back. So that is worth bearing in mind. I'm looking forward to seeing what Stan has to say on that this afternoon and tomorrow. Sorry, and tonight. We shall see. Okay, right. Questions. I'm just going to have a look through. If I can't answer them easily as I go along, I'm going to... I'm going to answer the questions afterwards. So, GC. GC, obviously, DX has been breaking up. I'd really thought, had GC actually been trading inversely to DX, it would currently be at 1335 area at most. Obviously, that's not what's been happening here, but we have broken this rising support trend line, and the rising support trend line would run from here, but I haven't marked in. We can go lower. I'm thinking A, B, C. So if DX is going to go higher, and I think it may well, then there's room here for GC to make a lower low, and that gives a nice long entry on GC. Where are the targets for that? I've got a decent support in the 1327 to 29 area, and I've got a support trend line here in the 131750 area, and my expectation would be it would bounce at one or the other. ZB. Now ZB, we had a beautiful rising wedge on TNX, and that was 70% likely to break down. It went the other way, and it broke up. So let's have a look and see how that's looking right now. And this happens, and I have to say, when they break up, wedges are particularly good at making target. And this target area for this particular wedge is in a very, very important area. It's almost exactly at major double bottom support for the bear market. That's in the 30.36 area. That's where this wedge target would be, and I think it may well make it. In the short term, I think we may well see a back test of broken resistance. On ZB, that would be, I think, roughly equivalent to a back test of, let's say, 144.12, and then, in all probability, we go down from there. We've got no positive divergence at the moment. It might need a bit more of a rally than that, but probably not a lot more of a rally than that. If this wedge, I don't think this wedge is overthrowing bearishly. I think it's actually just broken up. And we've had a very strong gap up over wedge resistance. Unless wedge resistance is lost, and normally in this case it would be retested exactly. That's what I'm thinking will probably happen here. And then if support is found there, which it normally would be on a setup like this, then it can head off to target without further delay. I'll be looking at this back test as a short entry on ZB. We shall see how that goes. HG. Now again, if this had been trading properly inversely to DX the last few days, HG would be noticeably lower than it is now. As it is, it's dropped a bit from this high here. I don't have a megaphone anymore. I don't have an obvious overall pattern yet, I don't think. Nope. So waiting to see some kind of a retracement. It's possible that retracement might get as far as rising support in the 3.025 area, but I've really no particular reason to think that's going to happen at the moment. If we break through short-term rising support in the 3.07 area, that opens that as a possible target. But I wouldn't really hold my breath on the way to get there. It may well not reach that. However, if we do see an DX move up to 91.2, maybe. We shall see. Stan was looking at 145.12 for the backtest. Maybe, but my problem with that is this. That's going to take us straight back into the wedge. And this is a wedge. If this wedge is breaking up, then the normal thing I would expect to see is a backtest, which would be a fairly exact backtest, not a run back into the wedge, a backtest of the broken wedge resistance, and then go. If we are only going to backtest the wedge resistance, and obviously it can go lower, but if it's only going to backtest that resistance, then that's going to be 144.12 area, not 145.12. Anything over 144.12 is probably going to be on borrowed time. So it depends. Now, if this isn't a wedge breaking up and it's breaking into an alternate pattern, I'm not seeing an obvious case of that being the case here yet, but it may be that on closer examination I will get more of a case. Then yeah, sure, absolutely, we can go down further and up further on ZB. But if this is a wedge breaking up, then probably not. And this looks too large to be a bearish overthrow, really. Much as I love this unfinished business down here, this is favouring the upside unless we see a significant decline from here. I'm not seeing any real sign that we're going to do that decline. We shall see. Yeah, no, I'm hearing that there's a Stan's target. You've got to remember that Stan's using different methods to mine. So, I mean, mine is all from classical, his is Elliott Wave and Fibonacci. My take on it isn't agreeing with his. Having said that, I mean, the rising wedge was leaning bearish yesterday, and the odds did favour that resolving bearishly. We did have unfinished business below on TNX, but, you know, it went the other way. And on the current setup, I'm a bit doubtful about getting that high. KC, coming back into a retest of the low. We're already on a weak 60-minute buy signal. I like a retest and go. We shall see how that goes. SB. This looks like a flaggy setup, which is probably going to deliver a retest of this low. I like this falling wedge. This might well be the second low of a double bottom for me. CC. CC, we are breaking down through rising support slightly. We had a very nice rising channel. Do we have negative divergence? We do not. And yesterday's sell signal failed. May well need a retest of this high. Could be turning, but I've got to say, CC, being short CC has not been a particularly enjoyable thing to be over the last few weeks. If we break through this this rising support from the lows, I would be more encouraged about a reversal on CC. As it is, it just feels a bit like standing in front of a train. So that train's been continuing up with a lot of regularity lately, and it's a strong trend. I don't like standing in the way of strong trends. ZW. ZW, obviously, there was a falling channel. This is a double bottom. That's broken up. That's made the target. I've not got any clear direction on ZW here. I would note that we've got no negative divergence, but we're testing weekly pivot as resistance. Obviously, that either holds or it doesn't. If it breaks and converts to support, that opens the upside. Now, GBPUSD. This this is coming back and it's about to test rising support. Right, that rising support is in the 1.407 area. If that breaks, that opens potential further downside, and it's possible that the high could be in. I still think that's unlikely, but this was an interesting bottoming pattern set up and fail. The buy signal hasn't failed, but it's certainly thinking about it. So we've gone considerably lower. I still like a retest of the high. That will become a less certain prospect on a break below this trend line here in the 1.407 area. USD. USD was forming a triangle, of course. That triangle has broken down. And obviously if DX is going to go up, USD is likely to go down. We're back testing the broken support on the triangle. I'm leaning short, although I would say that the minimum target on the triangle break was actually the RSI triangle support in the 70 area. We've reached the possible near-miss target. It may be there's not going to be anything else here. But if that does happen, if we've made a higher high over the recent rally high, then we were in wavy. Like I thought. Otherwise, it could be red either way. Okay, USDJPY. I'm still looking for a retest of this high here. Looks like a short-term flag forming. I'm looking for a retest of this high into maybe as high as 108.2 or 108.4, and then afterwards we'll probably see a fail. USD CAD. USD CAD is rallying. The obvious target is channel resistance, and that's currently in the 1.2715 area. Not seeing any particular reason to think that won't be hit. Australian dollar. The Australian dollar, we had a flag that's broken up, retested the high, set up a possible double top, and that double top has now broken down with a target in the 76-75 area. Not seeing any reason to think that won't be hit. No current positive divergence. It's a very nice, clear, classical setup, and the target is here, and I'm not seeing any reason to think that won't make it. NZUSD. NZUSD diverged last night because we didn't have the bullish looking potential set up on the Australian dollar. The head and shoulders is reaching target right now. It's just reached target actually. And I've got the obvious support and rising support just below where we are now. That is a very possible area where support may be found. The pattern target has been reached. No current positive divergence, but we could well find support there. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, I'm going to stop the recording.